Good morning. Thank you for being here this morning as we honor and give thanks for the life of Guy Younger Anderson, the way that he impacted each one of our lives, and the opportunity we have to remember and celebrate his faith in his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. On behalf of Guy's family this morning, his son, Quentin, has a few words to say for us.
On behalf of my brothers and our sister and our whole family, we wanted to thank everybody for being here today to help us celebrate Dad's life. We've always been grateful and proud, to be able to say, our dad is Guy Anderson. We especially want to thank Chief Kester and Sergeant Carmona and the Harlingen Police Department for, the honor they've given us in participating in this service, and we want to thank our veterans everywhere, and for particularly the American Vietnam Veterans Chapter who's going to help us with military honors later today. So we appreciate that as well. We want to thank all of our friends and community members who've been a part of Dad's life and our life. So we want to thank you for that too. So for many of you may not be aware that Dad was diagnosed with dementia a few years ago, and when we first noticed him having symptoms, I got a call from the church office, and they said that Dad was here, and he's a little bit confused, and I came over and sat in his pickup truck with him, and I said, "Hey, Dad, what are you up to?" And he says, "Well, I'm waiting. I'm going to go to church, right?" And I said, "Well, Dad, we went to church yesterday. Today's Monday, right?" And so we had several of those episodes over a short period of time, and what gave me comfort in those episodes was that even though as his memory began to fade, St. Paul was his safe haven. And, it's a place that he did remember, and he sought out, which was important to us. So he passed away on August 22nd. We knew that day was coming. Didn't know when it would be. But the day was a little bit different. I went to see him during the noon hour, which I was accustomed to doing, and he was alert, and just so happened that the chaplain was there at noon, and we're sitting in the living room, and he was alert, and we visited, and the chaplain prayed with us, and he was receptive and acknowledged chaplain, and it was comforting for that to happen on that day, for the chaplain just happened to be there. We appreciated that, and so I went back to work like I typically do, and at the end of the day, I was ready to go home, and I thought maybe I ought to stop by and go see Dad. And part of me said, you were there at lunch, and part of me said, yeah, you do that almost every day. And part of me said, I just don't know, how many more of those every days there's going to be. So I went by to see him, and he was sitting in his lazy boy in the living room, and he just had dinner. He was alert. He was. We visited a little bit, and it was like any other day. But what was different, as I was getting ready to leave, and head for home, I did something I'm not very good at doing. I grabbed his hand, and he looked me in the eyes, and I said, "I love you. I'll see you later." And so a couple hours later, he got into bed, and he just passed away peacefully. We weren't expecting that, didn't know that was going to happen. But what I'm thankful for is that God sent the chaplain over that day to pray with him. And I'm thankful that he sent me back, at the end of the day to visit him, to get that chance to tell him that I did love him. And what we know with certainty, is even though his memory's faded, and because, this church was a safe haven for him and for all of our family, when I said, I'll see you later, we know that that's true. Because of the goodness of God, August 22nd, it wasn't Dad's last every day. It was his first day in heaven, and we know that we're going to see him later. So now we're going to join together. We're going to worship, the God who created us and